Greetings, metalheads. Welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, and I'm back yet again with another bands you need to hear recommendation. Another band that if you haven't come across them before, you seriously need to check them out. So, I am cheating once again. This is a band that you need to hear, however, they only currently have one full-length studio album in their catalogue, and that is pretty much it. I think they did a split release a few years after the album came out. Pretty sure that was an album track. Not a huge amount of material from this band, but what we have got from Grand Supreme Blood Court is one hell of an album. So this is Grand Supreme Blood Court, a death metal supergroup featuring members of Asphyx, Berserker Legion, Soulburn, plenty of bands. Hail of Bullets, I think we've got in there. I think it even says here, Hail of Bullets, Soulburn, Asphyx. Just reeks of old school death metal, right? And you would be absolutely correct. This is a fantastic band. Their only album, released in 2012, is Bow Down Before the Blood Court. Now this is such a freaking great album. Absolutely love this album. I've had it for many years. First discovered Grand Supreme Blood Court. Can't be too specific with the year, but in my latter teens, I was absolutely hooked on old school death metal. From the likes of bands like Asphyx, bands like Grave, Entombed, Dismember. Really was totally hooked on that. Also really loved Soulburn, Thanatos, Hail of Bullets. So when I found out about Grand Supreme Blood Court with none other than the great Martin Van Drunen, vocalist of Asphyx and ex-vocalist of, well, in fact, they are defunct now, former vocalist of Hail of Bullets as well there. Front and centre, we've got Alwyn Zur, or Grand Registrar Zur, of Asphyx and Berserker Legion on guitars. We've also got the great Bob Bagkus on drums as well, fantastic drummer. A lot of musicians who have appeared in a lot of different bands, essentially, but all old school death metal legends. And this one album is absolutely fantastic. It is dark, it is dismal stuff, and it is not too far removed from those bands, like Asphyx and Hail of Bullets in particular. There's a lot of association there. Not only because you've got the great Martin Van Drunen on vocals, who I think is a fantastic death metal vocalist. He has such a distinct vocal style. There are lots of people that try and emulate his vocal style. Definitely, a lot of people trying to copy that, but no one sounds quite like Martin. He is totally unique. And this album is an absolute beast. It's less than 50 minutes long. I think it's like 48 minutes in total. Just pure misery. This is absolutely miserable death metal, but it is so freaking good. Death doom, really. Old school death metal merging into death doom there, definitely. Again, there's a lot of continuity between this band and Asphyx. It is a great shame that we haven't got more material from this band. I don't really know the reason why we haven't got more, but as I say, when I was really big into old school death metal and then discovered Grand Supreme Blood Court through my absolute love for Asphyx, who have, ever since discovering them, have been one of my favourite bands. And certainly when I was a latter teen, I was so hooked on Asphyx. Their absolute classics like The Rack, Last One on Earth, and of course the comeback albums, Death the Brutal Way. They were my thing. I absolutely freaking loved them. And then I remember, as a latter teen, discovering this purely by chance. Can't actually quite remember. There's been a lot of beer consumption and life events since then, so I can't quite remember how I came across this album. But I was hooked. In fact, I may have reviewed this previously, and I feel like I've talked about this album previously as being one of my favorite old school death metal albums, and I would stand by that because this is just an absolute beast. Sounds fantastic. The sound of the album is monstrous. Proper heavy stuff. Very, very much a close association in terms of the sound and style with Asphyx, with Hail of Bullets. Essentially, if you don't like those bands, you're probably not going to dig this. But if you like those bands, you're probably already aware of Grand Supreme Blood Court. But if you're not, you're going to love it. Kicks off with All Rise, which is a dirgy, dark, riff central, absolute beast of a track. Martin's iconic vocals, Bob, his driving drumming, fantastic drummer, definitely. Absolutely killer way to start the album there. You just get these sections where you get these enormously filthy, putrid, towering riffs, and then driving buzzsaw riffs and drum combo. Absolutely incredible. Bow Down Before the Blood Court, the kind of title track there, so good. Absolutely amazing. Pure Death Doom brilliance. There Shall Be No Acquittance, amazing. I mean, to be honest, just going through these tracks, there is not a bad track on the album. There is not a single track that is even remotely subpar at all. Even with some of the sort of latter album tracks or the instrumental piece, Grand Justice, Grand Pain, incredible. You know, just top notch. These are very talented musicians anyway. Very experienced, but just top notch death metal. Not a bad track. Not a weak moment there. Some of the highlights then, I'd say, include Fed to the Boars, which is just disgusting. And it includes some of the most blunt force trauma inducing, head bang, skull imploding riffs ever. Absolutely fantastic. I freaking love it. That might be a slight exaggeration, but it just emphasizes how brilliant this album is and how much I love it. I've got so much love for this band, so much love for this album. I do just wish there was a bit more material, but that said, we've got Circus of Mass Torment, which is brilliant. Public Castration, which will make you cross your legs in pain. Piled Up for the Scavengers is brilliant. The album actually closes out with quite a long epic track, which is And Thus the Billions Shall Burn. Now that really does kind of reek of Asphyx, in my opinion. That's quite a close, very close association there. Kind of Asphyx Soulburn, that very heavy but almost somber, moody death doom. And it just sounds brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. It's just riffs galore, thunderous bass, pummeling drums. The whole time Martin is shrieking and shouting and growling like a madman, presiding over this whole diabolical affair. Absolutely fantastic. If you can get hold of this, I'm not sure if you can all that easily, then certainly it used to be available in this nice digibook. But far more recently than that, I picked up this little ditty. This was it was picked up through the Darkness Shall Rise Productions web store when I picked up an absolute haul of stuff from them a while back now. I think this was released this year, 2024, so this is a tape reissue. And actually it says here on the top corner, massive, and it is correct, massive Dutch doom death. That is all you need to know. That is essentially it. But we get an awesome tape shell with the full artwork on both sides there. So freaking cool. And a very cool, expansive insert. Really does look the part. I mean, you could say it's totally unnecessary having an insert, or having a cassette version, I should say, with all this nice insert and print on the shell, when you've got the nice CD version. To that, I say that's not the point. I'm a collector, and if I love an album, I don't care if I've got it on multiple formats. And actually, I was listening to this tape version only a few days ago, and absolutely loving it. It sounds great in this old school analog format. You know, it just almost adds an even more disgusting, muddy sound to those riffs. However, when you listen to it on this nice digital CD, it still does sound beastly, of course, but it sounds clear, yet immensely heavy and thunderous. And all round, it is just a brilliant, brilliant album. Any of those bands I've mentioned so many times now, if you love Asphyx and Hail of Bullets, but also if you love Grave and you love Dismember, you're gonna dig this. You are going to dig this. And even good old Grave Miasma, good, excellent, in fact, excellent Death Doom band. Gonna love this. Tracks that you need to check out then. The opening track, All Rise, is a monster, as is the title track, Bow Down Before the Blood Court. I would also say that you need to hear Fed to the Boars and that closing evil, macabre sounding beast, and thus the billions shall burn. I just hope that one day we may get some more material. I did see on the Metal Encyclopedia page that they are still technically active. I don't know if they do very much in the way of touring. I certainly haven't seen their name appear on a festival lineup or a bill in a very long time. I do seem to remember seeing their name on something. It might have been like one of the Death Fests many years ago now. But with, I guess, the activity of these members, with Asphyx, very much a busy band, Berserker Legion, very busy, Hail of Bullets is obviously gone now, but Soulburn are a busy band. Maybe it's a scheduling confliction. Who knows? But I would love to hear more Grand Supreme Blood Court. Reliable, old school Death Doom, amazing instrumentals, fantastic vocals. This is a band you need to hear. So, my friends, are you a fan already of Grand Supreme Blood Court? And what are your thoughts and opinions on this amazing band? If you've never heard Grand Supreme Blood Court or their album Bow Down Before the Blood Court, you need to pick up a copy, and you need to just check out the album out in the first place because it's well worth it. But check it out and let me know what your thoughts and opinions on this one are. Thank you very much for watching this humble review, my friends. Please do feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. The support is very much appreciated as always. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the disgustingly heavy and awesome things. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay incredibly metal, and stay heavy.